Let's talk about a cool little guy, the Oncophora, most commonly known as velvet worms. So this is a velvet worm, and they are not actually worms or related to worms. They are in the phylum Oncophora. I'm pretty sure they're the only type of organisms in that phylum, and they are most closely related to tardigrades or water bears, as well as arthropods, so like insects and arachnids and all that. Even though they're not in the same phylum, that is what they're most closely related to. These guys tend to like warmer and wetter environments, so they're found in a lot of places in the southern hemisphere, such as a bunch of places in South America and Central America, like Costa Rica, as well as places in New Zealand, Australia, and Africa. These guys are pretty rare to see. They are rather shy and nocturnal, so they don't come out often, and when they do, it is in the middle of the night in more secluded areas away from a lot of like lights and traffic and all that, so they tend to prefer like in the middle of the rainforest and stuff like that, because they just don't like being out. There are many species of these guys. Some of them are very rare, and I may end up doing an endangered species spotlight, but for now we're just talking about them in general. But yeah, there's a lot of species, and some of them can look very cool. And they're also very cute. Like, look at their little feet, look at their little face. I think these guys are adorable. These guys are also very interesting physiologically. They don't have an exoskeleton. They're generally soft and squishy, but they're not slimy. They get their names velvet worms from kind of the texture. It does kind of feel vaguely like velvet cloth. So they're kind of soft and squishy like a worm or a grub, but they're not slimy, but they don't have an exoskeleton. So they're just kind of weird, and they're also relatively delicate too, so if you do see one, I would highly recommend not touching it because they are super delicate. Also, some of them give live birth, which is very interesting because live birth is pretty rare in invertebrate species, so that's cool. These guys are completely harmless to humans. They are non-venomous, but they do have a very interesting hunting mechanism, and they are very, very good hunters. So when they see a prey animal or prey insect, most likely other invertebrates, that they want to eat, they actually have this sticky goo that they shoot out of those like two things up there. They shoot that at their prey, and that immobilizes them, so the velvet worm can then crawl over to them, and you then just eat them. The saliva of the velvet worm does have digestive enzymes similar to spiders, so when they eat their prey, they're digesting them, there's the enzymes in there. But what's the most interesting part is the shooting goo. They have very good aim and tend to be very accurate with that. And while, as far as I'm aware, the goo is completely harmless to humans, again, that is not really something you really want on you because it's kind of gross and might be hard to get off, so again, I would just recommend leaving these guys alone so you don't get gooed. So yeah, velvet worms are just a very neat little guy, and I like them quite a lot.